Okay, what's going on? That's the title of this show. Um, it's Chare and Sanaki, and we're here to discuss a couple of events that took place this week. And for starters, it will be George Floyd and how he died with a cop on his neck. Um, I don't know. That video went viral so fast, and it was horrible. I saw it. I just couldn't look at it all the way through. I just couldn't.
Mhm.
For somebody to do that and to see how that cop was so unfazed by the fact that he was snuffing out the life of this man. So, Sanaki, did you see
Mhm.
the video?
When I watched that video, Halito, everybody, when I watched it, I just sat there with in disbelief at what I was seeing. We've seen this stuff, but I don't think we have seen one that showed from beginning to end, in that span of time, the man is alive and the man is dead, and we
Mm.
watch him die
Uh huh.
on the video.
I couldn't believe it. Y- we hear about this kind of stuff all the time, right? But
Right?
we it's like you see a video of the person running and then he fall down because they just shot him or something, right?
Hmm.
But this was you could see the man moving down there underneath the cop's knee, and you can hear him saying he can't breathe. And you can also look and see the cop's face. He was unfazed by this man down there dying. He,
Absolutely.
you know, I just can't. I just can't see a human being that way.
That's the key word. You said human. 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 That's mankind. Kind of like a man,
Hmm.
but not a man. That's a big difference. And I'm gonna make this one disclaimer rather for you and I, sis.
Hmm.
We ain't gonna get into this all white folks, not all white folks, because you know what? It ain't hardly 100% of nothing. So we don't have to say that, but we're gonna say it this one time. Not all white folks, and when it comes to cops, there basically are no good cops. Okay, so those are disclaimers. Not all white folks is this or that or the other and the third. And when it comes to cops, most cops, the majority of cops, subscribe to whatever because that's part of the fraternal brotherhood.
Mm. Mm. Yep. And I'm just you saw how the other cops they may have had in their mind, oh man, he's killing them, but they didn't do nothing right.
Hmm.
Actually, they was holding people back, and the little Asian cop, he was actually puffed up like he wanted to do something to the people that was yelling about the man was dying.
Looking like Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I can't help but like I said, I saw that, and I have brothers. I have there are people in my life, men in my life that I can I can see them, and that on that ground, I was just taken back. So, what just put the icing on the cake was the look on this cop's face. They have shown that clip a whole lot where you could see where he was unfazed by the fact that he was killing this man.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Initially, when it came out on Tuesday, and it had been trending like earlier that I think the young lady, she's a teen. I think she's still in high school, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, who had started it, and then others gathered around her. That video went on for almost 11 minutes. It was 10 minutes and something Okay, so what we see is snippets and clips and stuff, and then you have social media that scrubs things, or they go through their process of sanitizing shit, and you won't always see everything. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that the man had his knee on that man from the moment the video came on to over 10 minutes. You can only go without air for about 4 minutes as far as your brain before it, loses consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you can get into a vegetative state of not being resuscitated. So these things are facts, okay? And as different things come out about this minion, because he wasn't a man, he isn't a man, he's a minion,
Mm-hmm.
and how you got all the different kind of rhetoric that the media tries to use, and it's incredible. But you know what? If George Floyd, may our brother transition in peace, and he's in a better place. We know that because he is a solar being. Now, his life, I, I submitted to the great university. It won't be in vain. These young folks, I don't have a lot of criticism for what they're doing. I don't agree with everything, but I am not going to be condemning all the hurt, all of the, I mean, because look at how many times we've seen this stuff since Rodney King. Look at
Mm.
how many times, and that's 30 years ago. Doesn't seem
It's
like it.
regular. It's regular,
It is.
and that's alarming. I mean, it is when you see this but you know what? We gotta understand why they're seeing some of this. Some of it is not quite true. But then you have the true stuff right there, and it's all mixed in, and it's all programming. It's
Hmm.
programming. Make us get used to seeing this kind of behavior and expecting it.
Absolutely.
So,
I saw a post, and it was done by one of those digital context kind of pages. So, it wasn't a blog or a person. And they said, I can't remember because I put it up myself. How many times have you seen a so called white person die online? And I said, and it wasn't one of us. I don't believe who did it, but I'd have to go back and check. But it was a very, very good question. And I saw this man some years back, and see, you can never know with them, but from all accounts, I think he did get shot by some undercover cops, and he was in a hotel room in a hallway, and they did that pretty bad. But that didn't resonate and stay in my mind like all the countless video deaths that we've watched, or if we didn't see the person take their last breath like we just did, we come to find out the next day or so that they were dead.
mm-hmm,
So, you know, this this stuff, it is part of program. It's used to desensitize people, really. But when you see it from the beginning and the end, like George Floyd, then no, you can't be desensitized to that. That man called out for his mama.
yes,
That when I made myself watch it one more time because I couldn't watch it all the way through. He called out for his mama. Okay, now, and he's a big guy.
mm-hmm,
That that brought tears to my eyes.
mm-hmm.
You know.
I didn't know until I guess that was Wednesday when my brother, who had a mechanic shop out in Third Ward for about 15 years, and he was familiar with the man. Um, and he had told me, he said, they're having vigils, and they had a little march in Third Ward, and I was like, really? Why? He said because the George was from Third Ward. I said, oh.
He
Oh, I
was.
didn't know.
Sure was.
But you see, things are going on all over the country where you have all of these protests. But see, George's death leads us into the second part of this um, conversation, and that's the rioting. Now, see, it kind of concerns me, the rioting, because when you look and see who's doing the rioting, who's tearing the stuff up, it's not our people,
No, it
but they're
is.
getting blamed. You see, and
Mm-hmm.
the mayor of St. Paul had came on. He was on this morning, and he said that all the people that they had arrested for curfew violations were from out of state.
I had heard that. I
Didn't they
had
say
heard.
that? Didn't they say that when Michael Brown situation and what was that?
It
But
was enough. Was it recently with the guy in Houston? I can't think of his name.
no, I'm
It
talking
wasn't
about
him.
the Michael Brown that they Black
Yeah,
Lives Matter came all
Ferguson.
out.
Ferguson.
Yes, yes. Didn't they catch a lot of people who was rioting that was from out of state?
Yeah,
Then
they did. hmm They did.
see,
And that guy, it was a white guy, and then another young Amerindian brother. He confronted him. He said, "What, man, what are you doing?" He was the one
mm-hmm,
that broke through the window panes with a hammer at Target. Nobody touched that building initially. And the guy, he came in his face. He had an umbrella looking real crazy. And there's plenty of video out there.
yep,
He said, "If you don't get out of my face, I'm gonna punch you." Man, he said, "You wanna go? Come on, let's go." And he put his little joint down and he said,
yeah,
"What are you doing?" He was that right there did a lot for me because I get tired of people going and saying that a lot of this stuff has to do with us. And I've been seeing more accounts that, they got these skin suits that make them look like black folks, so-called black folks.
yes,
So they
yes.
say that they're wearing those too.
Oh, but you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I don't have no compassion for them getting their asses handed to 'em. I'm sorry, excuse the language.
hmm
When brothers and sisters realize that they got some of those kind of people amongst them running around here with skin suits on, beat their asses.
Absolutely. To
It's
a buck,
anything goes.
it is. Then you got your president saying uh, when the looting starts, then the shooting starts, and that's a quote from
Oh
a,
yeah.
a, a Dixiecrat back during segregation. Okay.
Oh, I have his little tweet, and he even had some of his avid supporters going like, "What? That's clown talk." That they say he's talking about those thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let that happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty, we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you. Let me just say this.
Mm,
See, that is clown talk. Because early on, the reason why those cops stood back early on when the rioting first started, because they realized they was outnumbered. Now
they
you
did.
can bring the military in, but the military gonna be outnumbered too. If you get the whole population riled up, that is no control. And to go in talking about looting, knowing damn well, so they when they talk about looting, they put a negroid face on it.
Yes, they do.
But if you saw those video clips, you see Negroes out there. Yes. But for the most part, those were pale folk and Hispanics.
Yes, they were.
See, opportunists always sit back and wait for us to have a moment that's heart wrenching to us to make us speak out. And then they get to use us as cover to go out and do their mischief.
hmm
See? And this not the first time. I remember when Rodney King matter went down. Who they had Jews out there with their harmonicas and everything, if I'm pronouncing that right, and running out of their own stores and pawn shops, putting them on fire and all this kind of stuff because they knew who was gonna be blamed for it. The Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. A lot of those businesses that was on fire, that didn't even make no sense because the marches and the protests went by all of those businesses, which brings us right back to that individual that was knocking those windows out. Word has it that that was a cop, and you know
That's what
what?
I heard. That's what I heard,
Okay.
and some others too. You know, and this whole thing has so many moving parts to it. Cause here's another aspect of it. This young lady, and she's a teen. If I'm not mistaken, she's 17, 18. She's young, and she was just really in like shock, a really deep shock at what she had seen. She was in hysterics. Now, these witnesses, and we forget because we live in such a microwavable chasm of time, with all this gadgetry and everything is just so fleeting, but it didn't
Mhm.
used to be that way. But my point is, remember several of these witnesses in some of these cases, they came up dead.
Yeah.
Okay. The one for Botham Jean or whatever, that kid, he fits right in between my two boys as far as age, because I think he was 27, 28. The kid had on a Pokemon shirt and some jeans and whatnot, when they had still shots of him and they had a video of him giving his testimony in the courtroom. They say the boy came up mysteriously dead. It was a hit on him. Let's just be clear. And then they tried to disparage his character after death and said he sold drugs and some shit was planted in the boy's apartment. Okay. Then you had the other guy who filmed Eric Garner. They put a whole case on him. And they
Mm.
harassed that man so, and they sent he did, I think he got 4 years. It was such petty shit. I don't even remember what it was because it wouldn't have even warranted any time. And he said he didn't do it, but we know they trump up charges all the time. And then this young lady, I'm like, when I saw it, I was just livid. I'm like, what the hell are they putting this child's face or anybody all everywhere plastered out there for people to see who she is?
Mhm.
Oh, and let's not forget the guy in Ferguson. They shot him in the back. Never did solve that crime.
Well, I'm looking at this, and it's just, to be honest with you, right now, Negroes need to really, really step back and look at the big picture. This, we have been just floating through as a people for so long that just putting up with it, saying, well, that's just a part of life. No, it don't have to be. And I think where we at now, we're supposed to recognize, okay, hey, we the damn landlords. Hello? We
Yeah,
as a people are supposed to tell the tenants what to do. We running around here, the tenants are kicking our behinds. And
right.
and and I'm saying this is not about violence. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm saying that we have to act as adults, as a people, and say what is ours. That's the only way you get your inheritance is to claim it.
That's right.
I've had people argue with me and say, "Oh, there's no point in that." You know what? That's why they need you to keep seeing your people helpless and
Mm.
being victimized. That way you'll never have the balls to stand up and claim what is yours.
I talked to hmm, he's a I don't know, we got different terms. He's a Caucasian, a pale person, but he's pretty decent guy. So he texted me and he wanted to talk to me about what was going on. I hadn't talked to him in a good while, and he's in Queens. But this guy, to his credit, he knows what's going on and he gets into clashes with his own folks. And he knows that that's what it's going to take is his folks, okay, doing what they need to do and getting out, leaving us alone. And one of the things that he spoke on was the name African American, and he said that never made sense to him. This is a pale person, lives in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me today, sis, he said, what would you like to be called? What do you think? I said, well, it was refreshing that he even asked me because that he thought about it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He said, because, like I said, he said, African American, he said, it just, he said, I don't know. He said, I thought there was something wrong with me. It just never made sense to me, but I don't want to disrespect what people want to call themselves. I said, we don't want to call ourselves that shit. I said, now that's something that has been cast upon us. You have people who are programmed, non thinking, and they don't get it. I said, but our ancestors and many of the elders, they tying up tying themselves up in pretzels, in knots, just knowing that you're going by this stuff. Who, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, now we've had many monikers and all of them just about misnomers anyway. I said, but we're looking at something that's befitting of us and meridians. He said, that sounds good. He said, I'm gonna start saying it, and I'm gonna try to explain it as best I can to other people, and I hope it catches on. This is what he said to me earlier today. He, because I told him what African American means in terms of the dynamics of it as a program, and he told me what I said made absolute sense to him.
Well, all he have to do is just basically he's looking around. That
Hmm.
he's things not adding up to him.
That's what he said.
So and then I'm gonna tell you something else. A lot of pale folks they know because their granddaddies and grandmamas and what have you told them who we were, and they also told them that they was gonna have to go along to get along because they took a lot of stuff. They were living on land and getting benefits all at our detriment
Yes.
and the detriment of our ancestors. So if they want to keep living good, they have to keep towing the line. But see, there's a price to be paid because every generation that keep towing that line, they pick up the burden that the person who started it, they pick their burden up and carry it. And pale folks carrying these burdens, it's gonna take them out. It's gonna
Oh,
take them out.
absolutely. I mean, because it's well known about their own genetics. And see, when people have to keep on repeating a thing so much, then you have to step back and look at and analyze why. This whole thing about white supremacy, just utter fuckery, because they know it's the complete reverse.
Yep.
It is the complete utter opposite, which is why they have to use what you call self-aggrandizement to build themselves up and make them think otherwise, which they know it's a damn lie. Not just a
Mm-hmm.
lie, a damn lie. Okay. And everything else about their own history is just that, history. Except the truth about them, they don't want they don't want those things to be attached to them, but they're inescapable. That's who they are, you know.
Mm-hmm. But
So go ahead.
but they have to keep doing okay. What their ancestors did, they have to keep doing it today in order to
Right.
continue on the facade of who they say that they are.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we have a lot of people who are they call themselves Americans. You see, but they hyphenated us.
Hmm.
We were a color, and then we became African American, which none of our ancestors or elders even stepped foot on Africa. Don't
When
know
you
nothing about it.
when you go back generations, there is no mention for the most part. And if you are from Africa and you have this as your lineage, then again, another disclaimer, so be it. but the vast majority of our people have no ties to that land. And then to
Mm-hmm.
take two continents and hyphenate them, that should tell most people, if they thought about it, that that is it, I mean, it's like a joke. It's a slap in your face, and it
Exactly.
makes it makes you a running joke.
Uh-huh. Because how can you be a continent? See, it makes no sense, but I think it was designed to keep us in a land, a no man's land kind of thinking.
Right. It
We
was.
we don't belong anywhere if we like that. But I'm just saying, our elders, they weren't confused. They weren't confused at all. What they did was they had to educate their children in such a way on who they were in secret,
Mm-hmm.
because pale folk and Asian folk, yes, we often talk about pale folk, but we neglect to talk about the Asians who also benefited from this quote unquote hijacking of our land.
Right.
Because we got a lot of them sitting on those reservations wearing identities that are not theirs. They are suffering because they're wearing an identity that is not theirs. It's not
Mm-hmm.
theirs. And when Mama America call, they can't answer, but they sitting over there wearing an identity not theirs, so they pay a price for all of that.
I told uh uh the guy, my Queen's associate, and so I'll call him that. When I told him about the transatlantic slave story, it's a fable in the highest degree. He said that when he was in school, he said he couldn't really speak out, but he said it was just so much about it that just didn't never make sense to him. I told him all the things that we know, and he said these were all the points that I never got a chance to talk about to anybody that never made any sense to me. He said that
Hmm.
because I asked him, how could any of that, to the degree and extent that it has been bandied about as a just the most incredible lie, how could it even be, how could that even be something that was manifest to be true? Logically, logistically, any kind of way, it doesn't.
Get this: the Amish, they would admit to who taught them how to survive on this land.
Hmm.
There wasn't those people that we call Native American, which are the Asians and the Europeans that had bred together and all of that. It wasn't them. It was
Hmm.
Negroes. I never forget. There was this clip from some show that comes. It was about the Amish, some kind of what you call those shows, a reality show.
Hmm.
And these Amish women were sitting down, and they saw some sisters sitting they was at a restaurant, and so they started talking to the sisters, and they was asking the sisters why they call themselves African American.
See,
And the sisters looked at each other like, what you doing? Because our people don't even, yeah, you're right, it is a running joke. It really is, because those sisters were sitting there and they looked like they couldn't believe why these heifers asking us this. They had been having a friendly conversation, and so one of the Amish women just got up enough balls to ask, "Why y'all call yourself African American?" Right there.
everything about us is known except by uh, some of our own people, but most of them know it, but it's been buried, and people would rather believe a purposeful lie than
Mm-hmm.
than the most ardent truth, because when you go towards the light, then you're going on a path where you have to have some responsibility.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't want that. But that's never you mind, you're still gonna be pushed upon that path, then you can reject it, you can do a whole bunch of things, but you're gonna be swept into it where you're not gonna be able to straddle the damn fence, and you're gonna have to either go over one side or the other. You're gonna have to make your mind
Mm-hmm.
up because it's coming to that.
But see, people, all this marching around. Let me just tell you something. I know people want to vent. This for some folks that marching around give them make them feel like they're doing something. They just didn't sit idly by. Okay, I get that. But the bottom line is it solves nothing.
No.
Only way that we can get some control over our own situation is to first off know who the hell we are and
Mm-hmm.
what belongs to us and what we're responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have to stand up and let everybody else know. See, they know, but they waiting for us to be adults and speak on our own situation, who we are. As long as we let them keep telling us who we are and making up this ridiculous history for us, we're gonna continue seeing George Floyd. And I'm telling you, I don't know how anybody who love their children, who love their grandchildren, who love their husbands and brothers and uncles and on, not want to make a change so no other generation will have to come and endure this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The only way we can nip it in the bud, and I know folks, again, like I said, people have argued with me and said as a collective of people standing up saying this our land ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna tell you something. We have never done it before, so you can't argue the point that it won't solve nothing because you never done it before.
And that's the thing, because I had, you watching these timelines, and it's just, it's just part of social media, and people put up. And I asked the question, and when I saw it, because I'm trying to not get caught up in my own emotional head spin, because it's very easy to get caught up in an emotional head spin. So I had people coming out, and they had this meme. They had, this is a protest, two pictures, black and white, with the civil rights marchers. Okay, then they had the rioters from, looks like, I don't know if this Target, I'm not sure where this is, but they had them looting and said this is a crime, this is a protest. So I just simply asked, I asked somebody to list how policing in America changed. How had it changed in the last 50 or 60 years when it came to Negroes?
It
Because
happened.
if you're gonna put this picture up, okay, and that's the whole gist of what we're talking about. You're gonna put this black and white picture up with them, with these folks, and they in their Sunday best, and they linked arms, because see, it's a story behind why they was even in their Sunday best. That most people who say this, and it's different people, but it's some people that are older and they should know better. Oh, this is a protest. That's a crime. We got our own people saying this. I said, now, again, I want someone to list how policing in America has changed in the last 50 or so years when it comes to Negroes. I said, take your time and press pause. I said, on your emotionalism, just the facts. I said, just the facts, please, and thank you. And I didn't get nobody saying nothing, because at the end of the day, even King himself, but this was the second phase after the civil rights movement, when he said that rioting is, is the voices of the unheard. And unfortunately, when this is just how I see it, sis, it takes the destruction of something. This is my thoughts on it, my own thoughts. It takes the destruction of something that's intrinsically tied to this system of capitalism, a construct that's it's built on our backs, nobody else's backs. It's built on our backs, from back in the day, going back to 5 or 6 times our great grandmama and them, to today. I said, so this construct that's built on our backs, before you have to have a greater conversation, a broader conversation, you don't even get to broach that, okay? Because before you start talking about all the things that got you to this point, then that gets distracted. And then capitalism, that's a core point, and it's a problem about why these issues that we got, it fits right in the middle where a lot why as to why a lot of the issues are lost, how they come about because of the construct. So then it gets overshadowed because you begin to talk about property. White folks love to obfuscate, which is distract the conversation, and put it somewhere else. And to me, and by no means do I advocate, you know, any of this stuff, but I look at it like this: 9/11 for them, and we know all the history about that with this little quick point. If they didn't have any problem having collateral fucking damage for almost 3,000 people, okay, then surely the collateral damage is some buildings, if that's what it was necessary to get people's attention. But you should go where they prize it most. Go out there in some of those exclusive shops and do it. That's the thing, you know. That's what, if they were gonna do it, go out there, you know. And see,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the main reason why these problems, they you can't talk about them because they always get mitigated and minimized, and it becomes looting becomes the problem. But I'm not gonna let anybody that I talk to make looting the damn focal point, because it's not. It's collateral damage. Just like when we go over there to other damn countries and bum the shit out of them.
But you know what? But what's amazing to me, and we can look back at every last one of these riots. The riot take place and tab the Negro neighborhoods, and people keep saying, "Oh, quote unquote, black folks are so ignorant. They tapped all their own grocery stores and gas stations and
Mhm.
office buildings." That's not us doing that.
A lot of
I'm
times it's not.
who is going to burn down the building that housed them? Who gonna do that?
Nobody.
But they paint this picture of Negroes out of control, running around to vent their anger. They tear up their own neighborhood so that they can live out in the street. No, no. But the rioting that's been going on in Minneapolis, when you look at those videos, thank goodness for the technology that we have now, because we get to see pretty much real time who's doing what. Because everybody
Absolutely.
love to pull out their cell phone and take pictures and video everything. So we're seeing that I would go so far as to say 80% of the people out there
Hmm.
are Caucasian, Hispanic. Hell, I even saw some Arabs um the women in they hijabs or whatever they call it. What did they?
Hajis, what you said?
Okay,
Hmm.
and I saw that, and I immediately thought about the Rodney King riots. How the helicopter panned over the community, and there's this pawn shop, and you had all these Jews and they hammockers running out grabbing things out of their store so that they can report it stolen.
That's the other thing. Because see, when this stuff happens, Target is going to report that they had more merchandise than they had, and
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna get a net profit from their uh from their insurance,
Mm-hmm.
and so is AutoZone and any of those other corporate entities.
Now,
Okay.
yes, yes. So it's a win for them. And think about it.
Hmm.
Think about it. How many businesses have been complaining, large and small, since what was that? The latter part of February,
Hmm.
when they were talking about this pandemic and all of this stuff. And they had all these folks that had to be laid off or business closed down because they weren't considered essential and all of that. These people already hurting financially. This riot serves as a, hey, we finna make ours. We gonna make some money.
That's right.
Now, that was a barber shop, a Negro barber shop. And it burned down. But the brother, our people, we think so little of each other. Because I'm pretty sure he's thinking, oh, those Negroes went crazy and tore up my barbershop. Oh, baby, no, no. When you go and look at those videos, you'll see those were pale folk.
They
And they
said it.
was
They
in
show.
a
Mm-hmm.
in a low income community, all those fires and setting them on the had mattresses and all kinds of debris in the middle of the road, had it burning all up. That was a low income area. They burned down the Family Dollar. They burned down something else that those poor people could walk to conduct their business and what have you. They burned that stuff down. But our folks, when we think of that rioting, who do we think of? We think Tyrone and
Mm-hmm.
Leroy. They was out there. Coon Eye. No, that wasn't our people.
No, because I did see one of the there was an article. The guy came out and he said we wouldn't do that. He said that barbershop was a staple of our community. And
Mm,
he said nobody and this came out. You know, he said nobody in this community would do that, and it made sense what he said. They just wouldn't, because it's always been a staple in this community. They wouldn't do that.
that's right. That's right. But like I said, thank goodness for technology because we get to see who's doing it. But you know what? The media still, every time they want to talk about it, they grab something, a picture showing some Negroes standing in front of the fire, taking pictures and yelling and carrying on. Just because they stood in front of that fire don't mean they said it.
No.
You could clearly see who was setting that fire. And I'm telling you, some of those folks, I would not be shocked if they were cops doing all of that. Because remember, this is about money. We talking about capitalism. It's about money.
Hmm.
That city finna get a whole lot of money. Now, I'm not saying the mayor had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that when when those people start running out there, now remember though, they was marching around.
Hmm.
Negroes weren't trying to have no confrontation. They knew that these pale cops was gonna come at them if they was out there in that street cutting up. But you know what? All of these folks from other states and whatever came over, and they tore that place up. They
They
just
did.
tore it up.
They did. And see, these paid agitators and stuff, they've always been around. Think back to the damn Boston Tea Party, how they dressed up
Mm-hmm.
like us. Okay, they did. And painted themselves and stuff. And they made it seem like it was Indians that did that.
That's right. That's right. See, it's no new game here.
Not under the sun, it ain't, not really.
Hell, they doing the same old, same old. But here's the thing. You was talking about the pale man that is in communication with you.
Mm-hmm.
You have two factions going on here. You have a faction, they know that this here is falling, it's on fire, it's imploding on itself. And
Mm.
they're still trying to keep it up, keep it going, because they don't want nothing to change. You have another faction, they know that everything is hinged on us yet again. See, this is why it's important our people understand history, our history.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's important for them to talk to their elders and find out what was going on when their elders were coming up and what their elders said that their elders told them. That's history because these people don't know a new game. Our people have saved pale folk and all these other people numerous times. And
Mm-hmm.
so now this mess is caving in. You have a faction. They saying, "Hey, we got to get those Negroes. We got to get them wide awake." Because in these last 10 years, let me just tell you, a lot of information have failed into our people's laps that I'm inclined to believe that pale folks were pushing some of that information out there
Yes.
because
Yes.
they need us to save them again. But here's the thing, we need not get confused. We need not get confused about their motives. I'm not, again, back to that disclaimer, I'm saying that you have a group of people that they want to stay on top of the totem pole, but they know that their little world, that they've grown accustomed to is dying, and they're going to need somebody to save them. And the only people who can save them is the landlord.
That's right.
Who's the landlord?
We are.
Negroes.
We are. And you know, the thing about it is when you have taken and made and put yourself, crowned yourself, so to speak, in the king and queen crown, like they've done as a group, and I'm just using it metaphorically. These folks, they are so ingrained and it just encased in they damn privilege, that the mere thought of it going away feels like oppression to them. That shows you how the sociopathic mindset that they have. Some shit that they constructed out of nothing. And they prop themselves up with it, which is privilege. Now, granted, most of them believe in that fallacious fallacy bullshit of white supremacy, knowing good and damn well, if you are on this planet and you are superior skin wise, then go stand your ass out there in the sun for 8 hours. Let's see you do that. That's a challenge to you. You know, like the ice bucket challenge. Go stand your ass out there in the sun. It's getting ready to be summer. Wherever you are, stand your ass in the sun for, I'm gonna tamp it down. Stand your ass for about 5 hours. Don't move. Just sit there. Don't put no damn hat on. Don't put no sunscreen on. Don't put nothing on. Just have your bathing suit on, or your swim trunks or whatever, and sit your ass there. Let's see how superior you are with what is natural for this planet, this sphere, and then we'll go from there. But that's the sociopathic mindset, because they are sociopaths. Okay, I made myself look that word up a few years ago, and it is fitting, because a sociopath lacks empathy. They lack the ability to even distinguish really right from wrong. They know it, but they build it up to in their own minds based on whatever they think it is. That's sociopathic. And and in being social, meaning, with, you got to intermingle with other groups, but the pathic part of it has to do with the psychosis of the fuckery that they done constructed. They did it. They created that shit.
Yeah. Now they dealing with the dying of this society, and all of this stuff that we're seeing. Really, some of it is camouflage for the death that's taking place, called the United States society, where world society, to be honest with you, because wherever these people are, their system is caving in on them. And it's not just payoff. This not just Eurozords. It's also Mongoloids too, with that mindset. And you have some Africards.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what we're dealing with here is this society dying, and the parasite. The parasite. I just leave it like that. You have two factions of them. Neither faction really care for us. But
Nope.
one recognize that in order for them to exist, they're gonna have to wake us up for us to stand in our rightful place, because they think that they can do that trickery again. When everything is all good, then they're able to trick us out of our inheritance again. You see,
Hmm.
this is what they think. But here's the big picture. This planet cannot sustain them anymore.
No, it
And
can't.
it,
These people are responsible for turning, just the mere fact that they want to challenge Mama Nature. That's enough for me to know how sociopathic that they are. But they think that they can challenge her. They feel that it is a game to them. They feel like it's something that they can win, that they can actually challenge Mother Nature, Mama Nature. They think that. So, when you look at how many animals have gone extinct, with the shit that they've done. When you look at the creations of the shit that they knew from the onset, like plastic, that's the main one, that they could have made that particular thing, product biodegradable and to go back into the earth, so to speak. They chose not to. All that kind of shit. This,
Oh, but
this is what people have to look at. And why would they think that they don't have? If we only get out of their way, and I'm gonna say that again and again. Why would they think that they don't have some a karmatic debt that is owed many times over coming from them?
here's the thing. They have taught themselves not to really look at the big picture. Only look at what is good and pleasing to them.
Right.
And they don't think like that. It scares them. They know that they have a lot coming. That's why when they try to paint the picture that we're like them, we wait, we line and wait to get even and do horrible things to them. Um, that's really not our way. It's not. I'm not saying we don't have some exceptions to the rule around here. I'm saying that for the most part, that is not our people's way. We don't walk around like that. We're about the most loving and forgiving people you can find on this planet. Because
Hmm.
everybody have come here, took advantage of us, stood on top of us, spit on us, kicked us while we was down, and yet we still have open arms for them, which is just kind of crazy.
Let me tell you something to go along with what you're saying. And I talked to, several of these people, and they offer good conversations and stuff. And so long as they do, then I will enter in exchanges with them and stuff. I have no problem with that. Because if they offer themselves to me as somebody that will and they seem to be that. They try to go back and they get mad. Their own folks cuss them out and try to tell them about themselves and the shit that they doing, and they are upset because they don't see it, and these are the conversations. So I don't have a problem with that. But almost all of them have said, and there's been quite a few of them over the years, that they don't even know why we are, the peaceful kind of people that they are, because we're them. They said they couldn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Even my acquaintance today said he would find himself with a baseball bat beating the shit out of people and just play crazy. He said
Mm-hmm.
because he couldn't take it. He said because he knows that no matter what a person does, you have they're walled in by things that the least little thing they have to go further, do more. He said this, and at any point all their hard work can come tumbling down on them, because his people are jealous and they see them as a threat and they will only let them get so high. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say
Mm-hmm.
it. And I'm sitting up there listening to him. I talked to him for 2 hours today.
Well,
Okay.
he's right.
He didn't. He was talking to me and he said, I don't know how to try to get this undone. He said, but more people have to see that this is a problem and we can't go on like this because it just we just can't. That's what he said. He said it's beyond wrong. He said it's not it's not even survivable. I don't even know why they think that they can continue to survive doing it. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, we're gonna go back to nature, Mother Nature.
Mhm.
When you were talking about plastic, scientists were just baffled a few years ago because there's this bacteria just came out of nowhere and it breaks down plastic. And they was like,
Mhm.
wow, Mother Nature adapts. That's why you can't beat her. You cannot beat her, Mother Nature. I don't know why there's this competition, but that's how you know when a people is of nature and when the people aren't.
Mhm.
That's the difference. People say, what's the difference between being indigenous and not? Well, there you go.
Mhm.
Now, you have some people of indigenous blood that don't understand and they trying to be like other folk and they doing some crazy stuff. But see, even they have to deal with the consequences of that.
Absolutely. See, in this universe, we of all people, this is our land. The spiritualness that is part of us that keeps us connected, but we have, for in large measure, disconnected ourselves from our solar selves. And that's a problem for us. And people have to decide, I want to be my true self. I don't want to be no fucking a simulation. I don't want to be no byproduct of this society whereby I'm some kind of manufactured shit that is a just bent on conforming into something that I'm not. And the people who embrace themselves, that's what they recognize. Because a long time ago, when I used to, I was, I say I was in my 20s or for sure my early 30s. I'm like, why the hell would I want to be equal to these people? Because you kept hearing the word equality. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started looking. I've always kind of liked words, and I figured it out a long time ago that words are the seeds of these programs. And we just want equality. No, we fucking don't. I don't want to be equal
Mm-mm.
to them. Equality. I don't want to be equal to them. I can never be equal to them. I wouldn't want to be equal to them because being equal to them puts me in the same bag with them. And then that's how the universe eventually, that's how you'll be judged upon in the universe because if you like them, you want to be them, then you can't be yourself and you're not them. And you
Mm-hmm.
should not be programmed into wanting to be anything else other than your solar self because you're going to be better off for that. You know.
It's because, look, our people don't know who they are, and they think along the lines of these other people. This is the best that they've ever lived, but this is not the best that we've lived. Our people, before these people came here, yeah, we had a little conflict among ourselves, but
Mm-hmm.
it was nothing like what these people brought here. It was nothing like that. We didn't need jails. We didn't need all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But so when people start talking about this is the best that they've ever lived, hey, let me just tell you something. It is not the best that we've lived. Actually, we was such in tuned people that we was known around the world during the time when there were no cell phones and satellites and all this other stuff. We
Mm.
was known. We the ancient ones.
We are. When I talked to the guy today, I told him, and he thanked me. I said, because he brought up, you know, the Native Americans. I said, well, I said, you understand who the original people are of this landmass. He said, I feel that I do. I said, well, it's not those people. I said, because when you go back and read any of the accounts from the people who so-called discovered this place, which they did not, because you can't discover shit where people already are. And he
Mm-hmm.
laughed. I said, none of the descriptions of our people are even remotely like those people. And I said, that's one way that you know. I said, but everything about who we truly are, great pains have been taken to bury it. I said, when you are committed to revising people's history, to lying. I mean, that's basically what it is. And to trying to just keep it buried. Then you got people that go over time, they lose their own truths. And I said, that's where we are now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everybody come here. Get this. To this day, everybody come to this country. What do they call themselves right away? They take this pledge and they take a test and then they become quote unquote American. Everybody want to be us. Everybody want to be us.
That's right.
Everybody feel the need and justification in standing on us, and they can lie and say that they're not standards on us, but that's not true. You come here and you build your dream while we suffer.
Mm-hmm.
You build your dream with our inheritance. Whenever you leave, and you know what? Years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I had an opportunity to go live and work in places like Australia. I'm glad I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I had did that, I would have been standing on those people. You cannot get off of your land and go and build your wealth on somebody else's. That is wrong.
That's right.
They are oppressed and you over there living good. No, that's wrong. And we have the world over here living on us. And they don't want to get off of us.
No, because why would a tick want to get off of a dog?
If it's eating well, no. It's,
Mm,
it's going to stay there until it pop.
exactly. Exactly.
See? So I'm just, we have siblings um, who are trying to run away. Of course, they are financially, they have some money, and they gone over to Africa and other places. Here's the thing: they'll be back because the moment they money run out, those people don't want you there.
No, they don't.
They really don't because they know who you are. They know what is yours, and they don't like the idea that you over there living on their land when you got all of this over here.
See, everybody in the world knows who we are, and we should too. More and more of us are coming back to embrace our true identity and to know who we are, because all it takes is just a simple conversation. When you ask people, you know, what did your grandmama say? What did your auntie say? What did your great grandmama say? What did these people say? They almost, I'd say, damn near 9 and 10 times. Okay. I'd be remiss in going below 8 times because I've heard it. They always go and they do say the truth. So if you know this, then why is it so hard for you to embrace your truth? Because the truth shall set you free. Because if you're running around here holding on to any of these other revisionary narratives and bullshit and lies, then you're a hostage. You are a hostage. Okay?
I, I, I don't know. I like that was a video the other day that came out. A young African male has saw what went on with George Floyd, and he was like, "Y'all had you got to leave America. You got to come here." I think he's in Ghana or somewhere,
Hmm.
and he was trying to appeal to our people because y'all been trying for 400 years to exist there. And I just thought to myself, I understood his what he was saying, and I felt he was sincere.
Hmm.
Okay, but the bottom line is this: I wanted to post it on there, but I on his video, but I didn't because I felt like it was going to be misinterpreted.
Hmm.
We can't leave. This is our home. What do we look like running from our home, but other people come here and we run away? We can't do that.
When you go to these places, this is what I don't understand. Then you then become an immigrant, and people look at you regardless of this propagation promotion that they trying to sell you to get you somewhere else. When you go to these places, then your ass becomes other. You're other. Okay? You're other. You ain't them. They don't have any commonality with you. You are other. And so, in being other, you're looked upon as that. And then you become something that another group that's vying for resources that they don't feel belongs to you because again, that's not your damn home. That ain't your home. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh, look. We have a home, and what we as a people see. You know what? It goes back to what you said about our folks not wanting to uh, do what they supposed to do for this land. They're not wanting to take the responsibility, so they think running off is the answer. But it's not. It's not because you go over there, you can wear a flaming tire around your neck. Okay? Those people hack you to death because they recognize that's mine. This is mine. Why you over here? See, they have resentment over that. See, it's one thing when you go over there as a tourist. They welcome you as a tourist. Spend
Absolutely.
your money and go back where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
I can respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking about you finna buy land, you gonna be living over there and you gonna live well, oh, they have a problem with you. Like those two Detroit sisters,
Oh yeah.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying this is home. And I get what the young man was saying, and I respect that. But our folks is picking up time and they finna go somewhere else is foolery. Because you not finna go somewhere in open arms. You finna go somewhere to become, as Sister Charlene would say, somebody's slave. And I'm not talking about, we think of the roots thing. No, I'm talking about slaves on a land that's not yours. You already being pimped on your own land.
People do not want you over there taking from them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does. Okay. We don't want the people here who came and raped and pillaged and took from us. But what they did, they made themselves uh war with us many, and there's hardly an instance where we didn't fight back. So people who choose to believe that bullshit, uh you really need to take a brain enema and then go try it again, because we always fought these people back.
Yep.
But you know, over
That's.
time, what they did, they infiltrated us. They did a whole. They came
Mm-hmm.
at us with in so many damn different ways to get to build this construct and make it what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
it's still our home, and we cannot look to anywhere else that isn't our home and think that we're gonna try to go over there and do what. Okay, if you go, you go. That's fine, and but don't have any misgivings that you going over there to claim your piece of your homeland.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look, what they say, fix your own house.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's where we at. But because our people are too busy allowing other people to give them a narrative that makes zero sense. Here you have a pale man telling you it don't make sense, and remember, it benefits him for us to be in a state of confusion.
Absolutely.
So if he can see something is wrong, our folks should supposed to be at a point in time where we stepping back and we trying to analyze things because we fed up, we tired, we tired.
We are. And when you think about when these people come here, none of them, especially the melanated peoples, they do not form any kind of allegiance with us. This man told me how he had because he comes from, Queens is very diverse, always have been way back when, you know. He said that when he was little, he told me this today. The Jamaican woman would tell him, "Don't play with." And in his words, the black kids, and he like elementary school, and he couldn't understand what she was talking about, and how come he couldn't play with them. And he said in his mind, everybody black. I don't want and it was funny, the way but I got it because he's talking to me in his child self, and he didn't understand But this Jamaican woman telling him, no, no, don't play with them. They are bad kids. No, don't play. She telling him that. So that's the whole point. This man is telling me that the people who come here, New York is a rich culture of all these kind of immigrants, and she telling him that the Negroes, so-called black kids, they bad, and
Mm-hmm.
he, as a white Scot, he's Scot, okay, because he told me he is a Scot. He said he couldn't play with him, and he said he didn't really listen to her because he didn't see nothing wrong with him, and he played with him anyway. But she would tell him that a lot when he was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
because she was his neighbor in the apartment complex. See? Now, you get the point of what I'm saying about, looking
Even
to these other melanated places and trying to, go and find what kind of damn refuge are you gonna find in these places when they don't identify with you? They know you're
mm-mm.
not them. What are you talking about?
You okay? Our cousins and them. That's our cousins and them. Um, the Jamaican. She's a cousin, and you can't go to Jamaica and time you claiming some land and you gonna build your homestead. There, all this kind of stuff. You can't do that. Now, people, please don't take this as we hating on anybody. We are not.
Of
What we're
course not.
saying is that Negroes need to fix home. They need to handle business at home. And all this rioting and what have you that's been going on, that's not necessarily us. Actually, it's not us. I go so far as say it's not us for the most part. And we need to know that we do have recourse. And it's so freaking simple. It's embarrassing when our
Hmm.
folks are wringing their hands and marching down the street saying the same old dead junk, time and no justice, no peace.
For
That means
40
nothing.
years, for 40
Yeah.
years, at least, because like I said, it's been Rodney King 30 years. So people, time is no respecter of anybody. It continues to move. Even though it's an illusion or whatever, it is a measurement, of our cycle that we use. So it continues to move. It doesn't wait on anybody. And another thing this guy told me, he said, now if he is paying attention to this, and it was rather enlightening conversation for me, but a lot of stuff he talked about I already knew, but it was good to know that he's delving deeper. And so, kudos to him for that. He just needs to go out and get him an army of more like minds like his. That's what I say to him. you know
Mm-hmm.
that's what that would be good. That could never hurt, and it is necessary for you and your people. And it would, be a byproduct of, in some kind of way, helping us, to the extent that you go and do your shit, and then, regroup, and have some brain enemas and stuff that your group needs. But he talked about how he saw where different people who are not us come over here and pretend to be us, so to speak. He mentioned that, like Nigerians and everybody, and people from the various countries in Africa, people from Jamaica, people from a lot of different places, and they get lumped in the category of so-called African Americans or black. And they don't claim that
Mm-mm.
unless it can benefit them.
That's correct.
They use that shit for affirmative action. As watered down as it is, they get to use it. And it was never meant for them.
Nope.
The civil rights movement that everybody likes to talk about, this is a protest and all that shit. The civil rights movement hasn't benefited us damn near since the ink was dry on the paper. It became synonymous with white women and the LBGTQRFW whatnot. And I don't mean to disrespect. I can never get the letters right. It became synonymous with those people, not us. But the biggest benefactors of the civil rights movement was white women. Period. Point blank.
Yes. Yes, but get this. All of the sacrifices that our people endured, all the dogs biting them in the ass and uh, being beat up by cops and pale folk out left and right. What you have is everybody else get to partake of all of that, those so-called civil rights. Even though when you go back on the books, they are very clear about who those civil rights are for.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody get to partake of it more so than we do. If it was about civil rights with us, now think about it. Yes, cops kill pale folks. Yes, cops kill Hispanics and maybe some Asians along the way. Yeah, yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
can happen. But for the most part, it's our people that is happening to. Okay, now if it was happening like that with all these other people, they would be going at it from a whole different perspective than our folk.
Yes.
They'd be utilizing all of this stuff that we don't. I mean, even though our elders and ancestors paid the price for those things, we don't get to utilize them. Okay? Now, right now, like I said, the reason why our people, right now, they are not supposed to be wringing their hands. They're not supposed to be walking down the street chanting that same old tired chant. We have recourse. It's your voice. It's your voice. And we as a people, I was telling my brother the other day, I said, you know what, we as a people are so backwards. If it's easy, if we think it sounds too easy, we won't do it. Now, it's as simple as us as a collective of people saying, this is our land. This is our land.
Mm-hmm.
All those folks say that it won't work. Okay, fine, let's prove it. Let's put it to a test. Let's put it to a test.
Mm-hmm.
Let's educate all our people so we can stand up there and do this test. See, because I'm under the impression, going by the history and how hard they worked to make sure that we became a splintered people in our identity,
Mm-hmm.
I think, this is my belief, that all it takes is for us to stand up and say this is ours. And let's see what happens. See, because I think it'll shut everything down because it just closed the game that they've been playing. And it just threw a monkey wrench in their wheel. So I'm saying, hey, let's test it. Let's test
Mm-hmm.
it. It's something different. We can say that we are really trying to help ourselves. That's how I know when our folks are really trying to help themselves, when they willing to go outside that box. That silly little box of marching around and thinking they finna get something done. Because what they do is placate us. They look like they finna do something. And then they turn around like, they arrest this man? Hmm? And so he can get slapped on the wrist and get 5 years or no charges at all. Down the road, he just get to walk away.
How do you get when if people looked up that term that they gave as far as the charge, third degree murder, and it even includes in it where there's no malice in in the intent of the act. What
No
else?
malice.
That listen. Hold on, I'm gonna pause for just a second. I'm gonna clear my throat. Hold on a second. My point was that alone, anyone who reads that ought to be upset to the point that they said no, no, that does, because it's just it's less than appeasing. It's a slap in the face. The term says no, there's no malice in the action intent for third degree murder. Okay. And it's one of those things, third degree manslaughter. So I just want people to understand, and I'm gonna read it real quick, and it's just what it says, because this doesn't make any sense. You don't want to have anybody come use that kind of verbiage to you. because it gets broken down to different kind of manslaughter and all of that. And I had never heard of third degree murder. That doesn't
Me
mean
either.
anything. It doesn't mean
Me
anything.
either.
I'm not a lawyer, so I don't um I I don't put myself on that kind of you know. But when you look at malice, people know what that means. That means with a evil intent, a depraved intent. Okay, how could no malice be involved with this act when everybody saw the man sitting up on this man's uh neck, and then
Mm-hmm.
he put his hands in his pockets. He put his hands in his goddamn pockets
Mm-hmm.
to study himself. Okay, because I made myself watch it one more time so I could. I'm like, I didn't say it out. I'm like, what is he doing? And then it just dawned on me because it was just obvious. Okay, he's on an unsturdy, an unsturdy surface, which is this person, this human being, this man, and he put his hands in his. He didn't even want to touch the vehicle. I guess for whatever reason of how that optic would look, but he kept his hands in his pockets and he pressed down harder. Okay, so when you find that third degree murder, it is murder that just it don't meet the requirements of first and second degree murder, and it's not even occurring with the commission of another felony, so they say. And third degree murder is classified differently than other types of murder in
Mm-hmm.
that malice. This I'm reading this, so I'm not just trying to be reading to be reading. I'm just getting the gist of it. Third degree murder is classified differently than other degrees of murder because malice, and we have to know that these words, these glyphs, they become like nails that they use to build shit and construct shit and distract you. Malice is not a required mental state. And we know the man had this minion demon. He had malice in him when he committed the act. So they take that out. And that's why they mulled over that shit day and night to come up with which one of these they want to charge him with.
But you know what? You had people constantly saying, "Now, if it was you or me had did that, then they would have charged us right away."
They
But
would have.
because it was him, they had took all this time. How long? Okay, they didn't arrest him until what, Thursday?
Right. They didn't that afternoon. They didn't.
Okay.
So and to give it that definition and be specific about the malice. How I mean, you know, to me that just says to our people that we can tell you any damn thing, and you know
And you
damn
believe
well
it.
what you saw. You If you understand these damn glyphs, cause all of this English is just bullshit, and it's some stuff that they got from all over the world because it's not a true language anyway. But they construe it to mean whatever. That act didn't have malice in it. Is basically the charge that they going for when you know damn well you saw it with a depraved intent with what
Mm-hmm.
he did.
You saw it on his face.
Yes, you did.
Listen, this is what I say to our folks. We need not get bent out of shape when this guy walk, okay?
That's right.
Because the ball is in our court. Our court is this is our land. And then you know what's ever since this year has been one of those crazy years for me because ever since March, our folk who know who they are, who been out there trying to educate people, all of a sudden they just running amok, being preoccupied with egos and doing a whole lot of other stuff. Right now, brothers and sisters, we're supposed to be educating those that don't know, because if we want this kind of stuff to cease, that means that we got to have a different approach. That approach is we got to be the landlord. We got to stand up and say what is ours. I, I just get so frustrated with people who want to say that won't work. Don't come talk to me about that well, you know that sh.
Sugar,
Don't.
honey, ice tea. I just said, and that's why I love you, sis. But I'm help you. Sugar, honey, ice tea.
Because our folks, this is a time in our favor. That's what bothers me the most, is that right now is in our favor, but we're wasting time doing what? Doing what? Fighting amongst ourselves about egos and he said, she said, and all of that. No, brothers and sisters. Right now, we are supposed to be educating each other so that we can stand up and say, we done had enough. Stop it. We need y'all to leave. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I know that we tend to go hard on Noble Drew Ali, and
Mhm.
for a good reason. But I want to point out that in 1928, he went to the Pan American Conference, and they had a big to do, and supposedly that they was discussing when the European time on our land was up. Because remember, what a lot of folks are not taught in school is that when the European arrived here, the only reason that our people agreed to let them live amongst us was this was going to be a temporary arrangement. And
So
in
they
true
said,
fashion, what they did was reneged on. It was just a lie. They reneged and they got into our different situations, our different tribes and what have you. Find out who had an issue with who, and they had all kinds of confusion going. And so they brought all this confusion, had us fighting each other. That's how they
mhm,
get in. They brought their woman and got our brothers all hooked up on their women, all this stuff. These people, when they came in, they was coming in for keeps. So here we are. I should say, Noble Drew Ali in 1928. He was in the Pan American Conference, and they was there discussing when the European was supposed to legally leave.
mhm.
And then they gave the European 40 years to get their affairs together and stop ruling over this land. Well, guess what went on 40 years later? We had all that civil rights stuff, had our people all distracted with civil rights stuff instead of standing up and say, okay, your time is up. We the landlords, we this time for y'all to go. Our people weren't saying that. What they was doing, they was out there in the street talking about civil rights.
Yeah.
That's what they was doing. Now, at first, I thought that was Noble Drew Ali, this Pan American Conference. Hey, guess what? I looked all of that up, and it's
Mhm.
true. But here's something interesting. You can find the what do you call it? The conference transcripts for all those conferences, Pan American conferences that they had. For all of those conferences had a bunch of different sub conferences going on, and you can get transcripts for all of those, except in 1928.
Mhm.
Now that I found curious, that I couldn't get the transcripts for all of those different committee meetings and what have you
Mhm.
for 1928, but I could for any other year.
See?
I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, we've been distracted during a time when we were supposed to been telling these people to get the F off our land. Here we are, here we are, darn almost 100 years later, and we still haven't caught up to the fact that this is our home, and we as a people have to say something. We have to stand up and say something. I hear the brothers and sisters talking about we got to get our guns and we got to get our knives and we got to go and beat up people. I hear you, but I'm telling you that's not where it's at.
Mhm. Right.
We have to stand up and be adults and say this is ours. Because I'm going to tell you something. One
Mhm.
thing that the pale folks understand about us that we have forgot about ourselves. When we put our mind to something as a people and we speak it into existence, it's on. They don't want you in that state of mind.
No, they don't.
because they can't control you like that.
They are afraid of that. And
Yes.
and the unifying of people, this is where when people continue to talk about unifying, we need to we need to, have unity. Unity comes basically from people that identify with one another, and especially people that feel that they come from the same. We know that we are the same people. We know that this is our landmass. So all we need to do, like you said, is embrace that and go forward. We can't continue to let divide and conquer. That is the most major tactical strategic of war ever.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
as long
Mm-hmm.
as you can keep your enemy, and to the greatest extent we are that to them, except we they benefit from the capacity that they have put us in. So
Mm-hmm.
as long as you can see, you can't see yourself having an allegiance with your own people. You're always bickering. If I say the sun is yellow and you say it's purplish green, then we locked into, you know headbutting for nothing that makes any sense, that's going to appreciatively change our state.
Mm-hmm.
Our embracing who we are changes everything.
Yes.
It changes our dynamic, it changes our future, it changes our present, it changes every aspect about us.
And see, our folks don't get that, and they need to understand if you want change, genuine change, and if you're a parent, a grandparent, cousin, sister, brother, look, you love these people, you want change. You don't want every time they leave the house, you get scared that, oh my God, some cop gonna get them, or some pale person gonna shoot at them. Look, we got to stop being stepping fetchings. We got to
Mhm.
stop acting all scared with our eyes bugged out, and we just got to stop that. If we talking about saving the next generation, they are killing our people in more than one way,
Yes,
and the worst way is psychologically.
it
Our
is.
people are buying into all of that anti-nature thinking. They're buying into it, and it's a death warrant. We're indigenous people. That means we're part of nature, and we're going away from that which gives us life. So I'm just saying we're the biggest losers here when we walk away from our truth. We're the biggest losers when we let other people identify us and give us a history that's not ours. See, so
Mhm.
we have a wonderful opportunity here, and we need to see that. I get that we have some bumping of heads, because everybody want to be the big chief, and now everybody want to be a chief, and all of that kind of stuff. But if you genuine about wanting to help your people, you push that shit to, excuse me, I'm sorry, but you'll push it to the side. You'll
Say it,
push it to the side.
look, say it like you mean it. That shit, you know, that's what, say it
I
like you
be
mean it.
trying not to cuss, but because I find that when I get to talking about my people, cuss words come up because we are way past that shucking and jiving stage,
Yes.
and we have to recognize that we can no longer we don't have not another generation to have to endure this kind of stuff. No more walking around. I know in the 60s and the 70s they were singing "We Shall Overcome." I'm saying that the only way you're gonna overcome is to embrace who you are and to claim it. Get a backbone. And nobody's saying stand out there by yourself. We all
Right.
in this together.
That's right.
But here's the catch is we have no power unless we act as a collective. That's the catch. That's why we supposed to be educating our people and all these brothers and sisters who are all fired up right now. Give them their truth and let that fire enoughness lead the way.
That's right.
That's what we have to do. Now, um, back to Donald Trump. That was the third thing that we was going to talk about today. Donald Trump, right quick.
Mm.
That tweet that had Twitter telling him that he was in violation of they posting. Um, he was basically, like you said, he was quoting somebody, but even in quoting somebody, that's a threat to us, because when they start talking about looting and shooting, they're not talking about looting and shooting the pale people. They talking about looting and shooting the Negroes, whether they looting at all.
Mhm.
They talking about coming in Negro communities and handle up on Negroes. We can't allow that. So how do we handle that? I'm telling you, get a voice, educate, stop wasting time with all this foolishness. Continue educating our people, because the only way we're gonna have any lasting change is to stand up and be in our truth, because there's power in that. It's power in acknowledging who you are and what belongs to you. Because when people know what belongs to them, they're going to protect it.
And you know what, sis? If you've ever had a conversation with anyone, and I'm not just going to reserve it for pale people, with anyone outside of our collective, because I've done this many times, and I'm sure that you have, but I'm challenging the rest of our extended family to do it. Have a especially if you know who you are, and you should. But if you know who you are, broach a conversation with anybody outside of our own people, outside our collective, and watch how their whole facial expressions change as you talk and speak to your own truth and
Mm,
your identity, your
yes.
as the original people of this landmass. You
Mm-hmm.
their whole countenance, which
It
is
do.
their face, changes, their body language. Then you'll have about two different kinds. They gonna either be really relieved and happy for you, like, whew, she know. Oh wow, they know. Okay, seriously. Or they be like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, they know. Oh shit, one of the two.
It's, but either
Am I
way,
lying? Am I lying?
no, you're not. No, you're not. I never forget how people become humbled. I never forgot how my mother and I would be out, and I was wearing these T-shirts. One of the T-shirts out in the group, y'all see it a lot. They have Aboriginal American on it, and they have the two, the Negro woman head and the Negro man's head with afros, and they have all the different names that we was called throughout the years. And pair folks would read that T-shirt, and they would look at me, and they would be humbled. They couldn't do enough for me and my mom.
Hmm.
So I'm just saying, you're not lying. You're not lying. And I tell you another thing. It'll shut them the hell up when they know you know who you are. They don't have nothing to say. They just stand there, look like a deer in headlights.
They do. They
They don't
actually
have nothing
do.
to say. Now on the Negro, on the other hand, he'll argue with you and say that you just ashamed of your Africanness and all of that kind of stuff. But them other people, they're not finna argue with you, because they know who you are. They ancestors knew about you.
That's right.
Everybody, long before there was television and radio and cell phones and all of this stuff, our people were known around this planet. And everybody talked about our greatness. And to this day, our people still exude that. They talked about our athletic abilities, and they talked about our civility.
Hmm.
They talked about our culture, how rich it was. That's why people watch us over here. They watch us around this world. And if we start saying a certain something, everybody else gonna start saying it. If we start wearing our underwear on top of our head, you can rest assured that these other people gonna be walking around looking just as foolish because they gonna have their underwear on their heads too.
That's right.
They watch you
Yeah.
because they know who you are and they know your greatness, but you don't know it. And to call yourself, and I'm not putting down Africans, I am not doing that. But I'm saying to call yourself that which you are not is an insult to your ancestors.
It is literally, if you want to go to that term, it's damn near blasphemous.
Yes.
It is to
So,
say that as and to, to even frame yourself to be something that you simply are not. It has nothing to do with hating on anybody, but it has everything to do with uh, us being at a critical point and a fork in the road in this juncture, and we had better man the fuck up. I'm
yes, ma'am.
sorry, we had better.
Yes, yes. So, I get off on little tangents and stuff, but I'm gonna say this. The reason I brought up again by Donald Trump is because he was sitting over there. He got mad with Twitter for telling him that what he was saying was hateful and violent. So they said he did an executive order. I didn't look it all up.
I saw it. I hadn't seen it either, but I saw it trending on social media, and I'll get a chance to. I don't know what the hell it could be, you know, but because what he's setting it up for, and then so the stupid pale people who follow him based on their own hypocrisy should be the first one to check him and his shit. It ain't for us to do, because this man is usurping everything about the office that it says, because he's the figurehead and all that, but he wants to be a damn dictator.
Mm.
Okay, we don't have dictators, so you can't talk about liberty and freedom, and you got a damn clown in there who wants to be a dictator. I'm sorry.
Hanging out on Twitter all the time. But he have gotten a little better. When he first got in office, every day he was on Twitter all day.
That's all he ever did. You know, that's that's all he ever did. Eating them four Big Macs and, well, two, what is he? Two Big Macs and two fish sandwiches or whatever he is. That's what they said. Oh my, oh my goodness.
Well, this gentleman or person, he listen. He's doing all of these things, and it just come back to us because we have been talking about 2020 for a long time.
Hmm.
Anybody who's been in African Americans ain't African. We have been trying to prepare our people for 2020 for some years, and we're here. And it's not just about the census, as you can see. It's about our people standing in their truth and having the wherewithal to stand in that truth. Um, I would have never anticipated things working out the way that they are now, but I still see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm telling you, our people still have time to get their heads up out the sand and do what they need to do. Because Donald, I've been seeing these ads pop up on YouTube
Hmm.
asking what the people think of. Donald Trump want to know what you think of socialism and some more questions. And I'm like, socialism. Oh, I'm not liking I'm not liking that question. So I'm saying we have our own agenda and we need to stick to it because these people they don't want to go back to where they came from.
Hmm.
And they're looking for any kind of reason to come in and just shoot up our people. Cause this, you just got his word on that. What he want to do, and who they gonna come shoot up? They gonna come shoot up us. But you know what? They can only shoot you up if you don't know. You don't know who you are. You can't stand up and speak into existence. See that our people were known as being able to speak into existence whatever that they needed to speak into existence. That's not hoodoo and voodoo, but you know, hoodoo and voodoo is our stuff.
Mhm.
But I'm saying that just we was a matter of fact people. We didn't beat around the bush. We just said it. That's how you kept the peace.
When you
When
say something and then, based on who we are, it most definitely, and I've seen it, I've done it myself. It can and it will be a manifestation. That's what, I say, so say you, so it shall be so. So
yes, ma'am.
you do that. And that's what we have to do. We have to get back to the things that are part of us, part of our culture, and leave this assimilation shit alone. I know people got to go to their jobs and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't have anything to do with you getting to the core and the soul of who you are and reconnecting yourself. That doesn't have anything to do with that.
See, uh, see, because in the end, this what we're trying to do, or what we should be doing anyway, is making it better for the next generation and being in their truth, seeing you in your truth helps the next generation be in their truth. Because if you living in your truth, you're going to teach the next generation to be in their truth and not settle for strangers telling them anything about themselves. Because whatever they need to know about themselves, their elders going to tell them.
That's right.
Not strangers. Our people never did allow strangers to come in and tell us these things. But somewhere along the way, we believed that assimilating was the best thing for us. So we start believing these people that we had to fight. We had to fight them.
Hmm.
They are invaders on our land, and they have been trouble for us since they got here. So
That's
we're
right.
gonna let them educate the children. We're gonna let them tell us who we are. So we got a lot of damage that we're trying to get through. We're trying to get through to the next generation, try to clear that out. At least give them a fighting chance, because they're gonna be the ones who gonna have to build all of this back up. But they're gonna have to build it back up right. They're gonna
Hmm.
have to be they're gonna have to be the balanced people. That's what our people bring to the table. That's why the world watch us. You have other indigenous people elsewhere. They looking over here saying, when y'all gonna kick it off? And they're not talking about when we're gonna go and burn down the White House. No. They're talking about when we're going to stand up and say this is ours. Because the moment we stand up and say this is ours, that gives them power too, because then we connected ourselves back into nature.
That's
We
right.
claim we are claiming this land. That means that we have to take on this land. We have to be a part of this land. These other people, they already doing that. We the largest population of indigenous people here in the Americas that are disconnected.
Yes.
Disconnected. We got to reconnect ourselves back to our land, and in doing so, we're connecting ourselves back into our family, the indigenous family. So it starts a chain reaction.
Hmm.
That's why everybody look over here and say, "Well, why y'all not doing nothing? Why you not doing anything?" The African guy feel like we're part of the diaspora. No, we're not.
Yeah.
We not. I appreciate the sentiment, but we're not. We got to stand up over here, and we got to reconnect ourselves to this land. We really do. And I know some people say, "Well, that don't make any sense. That, it just don't make any sense just by calling yourself something." No, it's more than just calling yourself. When you believe, when you allow yourself to be that which you are,
Hmm.
it's power in that. And I tell people about the ancestral energy. We around here we've been victimized, and yet we got all this ancestral energy that we don't even call on.
Let me tell you something real quick, as we wind down. People, our people don't know, uh, or at least a lot of them don't. I won't say no one knows, but to piggyback off what you just said about our ancestral energy, throughout this whole country, you know, what they have built in terms of this physical construct and definitely the systematic and structural aspects of it. Everything is built on us. Capitalism, they created it from our blood, sweat, and tears. They did. Okay. Because this land with these crazy ass people who their own country sent over here from the bowels of the sane of the bowels. That's the very lowest part of it, of the insane asylums and the prisons, and emptied their asses out, set them on boats and stuff, and told them don't fucking come back. Okay. They did. This is their own people. That's how they got here. They didn't come here talking, oh, we looking for religious freedom. That's a lie. You know, anything to put themselves in a damn good light. And
Yes,
they sent the dredges of their people here. Get the fuck out of here. Bye. Get away. No, these are truths, and I'm just
yes,
summing them up,
yes.
sis. And so, when it comes to gentrification, they wait because they are very methodical.
Mm-hmm.
The monies that these different areas throughout, where you are in Texas, where I am in Tennessee, and in Memphis, and you in Houston, and everywhere where we have a majority of us living, they don't even we don't even get the tax monies that we have paid in property taxes and sales taxes that's earmarked for us, and such and such.
Mm-hmm.
And they be just like vultures and buzzards, waiting till that particular community goes down to its
Mm-hmm.
last leg. The only people who are there are the people who can't go anywhere, which is a lot of the elders, because people are like, oh shit, I gotta get out of here. This done got really bad. And it
Mm-hmm.
is in a crumbling, decrepit state because they keep resources that are ours. We have participated in this bullshit that they stitched together. And then they don't even release what is rightfully ours, just
That's
from
right.
that standpoint. Then here come the buzzards, the vultures who've been hovering around the carcasses of the community. No sooner than it's just about on this last leg, then it gets gentrified. Then they get grants that they don't have to pay for. They get
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of subsidies to build it back up because we have fled, and a lot of our ancestral energies and stuff with our loved ones having been there. Big Mama was there, her mama was there,
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. And this was the first house that our family owned. And you got Auntie, she lived 2 blocks over. You've been there for a long time, in these places. Everybody has places like this. They let it go down, and then here they ass come. They suck up the synergies of our ancestors. They
Yes.
get monies and they rebuild, and then to our detriment, the Negroes who have fled, they only want to come back because the white folks done built it back up.
Well, let me tell you something. In my neighborhood, the neighborhood I grew up in, that my mom's and dad's house is on, um, I noticed that a lot of the kids I grew up with, what had happened was they ended up selling their when their parents died. They sell the property,
Mm-hmm.
and here they are decades later. They trying to buy property back in the neighborhood again.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about.
And I just my sister told me a few weeks ago, a guy that grew up with us, they had sold their parents when their parents passed on. They had sold the property and divided the money up amongst them. It was like, I think 8 of them. And now this young man, he's a little older than me, but
Mm-hmm.
he,
Sure.
he
Mm-hmm.
trying to come back. And he asked if we was gonna sell my parents' home, and we was like, no, no. When she called and said that, I said, "You did tell him no, right?" She's like, "Of course not." I told him that, but the whole idea that he's trying to come back, and he's not the only one. But see, not everybody did what he did. He and his siblings did. There are other siblings that when their parents passed on, they just moved back into the house, and they're redoing their houses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, it's you're right about the buzzards. They just harass you half to death for the property because they think they can get it for nothing.
And a lot of times they do. They get it for little or nothing. But then the resources that is taken from everybody, they get. And so that's how you get generational wealth that continues to be generated from our people. And they tap into the solar energies that are there from many, many decades of our people. Don't you ever think, family, that that energy dissipates. It's there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I remember years ago. Y'all remember that movie called Amityville Horror?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you look into now, a lot of that was they made up for the movie, but the neighborhood that they built that particular house in, it was all of one of our graveyards, and those people really were experiencing things, and they really did. Many of them really did leave
Mm-hmm.
because because like you're talking about that energy there, that synergy going on that they couldn't handle it. And I'm gonna tell you something. Our people, we supposed to be operating on a totally different frequency. That's
Yes.
that's what make us so much different than these other people because we operate on a different frequency. And when these pale folks would come in a area with that frequency happening, it would disturb them because they vibrate totally different than us.
Mm-hmm.
That's not putting anybody down. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that movie basically the story of the movie came out of because they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't handle that energy. It wasn't about no evil spirits and this and that and the other. No, it's about that energy. They couldn't vibrate to tolerate that energy.
And see, it's everywhere because we are blended in with everything, every aspect of Mama Nature. We are because we are the ancient ones. We are the original people. We've
Hmm.
always been here since time immemorial. We've
Hmm.
always been here. Okay,
See, so when we understand that, when we understand that, we able to move forward. We really we got to stop saying we all the same. We got to allow people to be themselves and allow yourself to be who you are.
absolutely.
So like I said, that was what this whole um, podcast was supposed to be about: the current events and how we play a role in all of this, and how we can change things to our favor. But we have to first stand up as a people and reclaim this land. I don't care how simplistic it may sound, we must do that. And let the chips fall where they may. If it don't work, okay, it didn't work. But see, I think deep down people know that it would work, and they know that they don't want to let go of Babylon. Okay, that's what
Hmm.
this is. Even with Babylon standing on them, kicking them in the behind, they don't want to let it go. But I'm saying, for the sake of the next generation, this is what we need to be doing right now.
Absolutely. We
So,
have to we have to do that because, that's the only way to break the spells of the programs. And these are spells because when you repeat these things and then you embrace them and you open yourself up to be assimilated. It's one thing to have to do certain things because this society put itself upon us, these people did, but now you have to stand up and draw lines to certain things. You simply have to do that.
yes. So this I just felt that we had to get out and say this to our folks. Pass the word around, because I know a lot of people are frustrated right now because they saw that video and you can't help but be disturbed by it. But I'm saying that we have a remedy. It's simple as all get out, but it requires us to educate, keep educating. Right now, our people, many of our people are open. They open to hearing what you need to say because they looking for solutions, and this is the solution. But it's gonna require them to let go of some BS that they've been carrying around like it was theirs. So,
Absolutely.
you have any last words before we get up out of here?
Nothing but what we've said, and we can't emphasize it enough, family. Kin folks, family, we are connected by this landmass. Our people, we have to stand in our truth. That's the only way that we're going to be able to go forward. That's the only way that we're going to be able to set to at least put the next generation on the right path. And we have to do that. And in doing that, you do prepare for the future. That's how you do it.
Beautifully said. And I hope people take that into real consideration and do it. Do it. I still educate people. I still talk to people. When they present themselves to me and I see that they open, I'm talking. I'm telling them. I'm giving them the 411 because we don't have any more time to waste. No more time. And as for my ego is in check enough for me to be able to share with my siblings. They have to know. So that's what this podcast was about, and I hope that whoever's listening, that they share the information on waking our siblings up. They got to wake up so that we as a collective of people have we're able to stand up. Let's just put it like that. We stand up as a people and claim this land and see where the chips fall. So
Absolutely.
So with that, I say good night, a kitchewa, and
I say good
everybody
night.
have a safe weekend, a safe, joyful weekend. Okay.
Ninak achikama. Good night. And
Good
chop chop.
night. Beautifully said.